This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 1865. 7 Things I Wish I Knew Before I Retired by Ballew of eggstack.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. This is the show where I serenade you with the sweet sounds of personal finance knowledge from some of the best blogs on the planet, with the author's permission, of course. And now let's get right to today's post as we optimize your life. 7 Things I Wish I Knew Before I Retired by Ballew of eggstack.com. Life is full of surprises, and retirement is no exception. From the perspective of someone on the other side, here are 7 things I wish I knew before I retired. Number 1. Unexpected costs can wreak havoc on your finances. No matter how much you plan, things happen in retirement that you never expected. A loved one falls ill, inflation rears its ugly head, or Social Security goes bankrupt. That's why it's so important to prepare for the things you can predict. Houses and automobiles need repairs and maintenance. These costs are fairly easy to plan. It's a matter of estimating the costs and setting aside enough money to deal with them. Number 2, family matters. Don't work so hard that you lose sight of what you're working for. It's a scenario that plays out far too often and with disastrous results. You dive headfirst into your career with good intentions to provide a better life for your family. Then one day you look around and your family is nowhere to be found. They've found other ways to meet their needs for love and attention. There's a lot of free time in retirement, but it's no fun if you don't have anyone to spend it with. Make family a priority. It's not just a bumper sticker. Putting family first pays better returns than any job or investment ever could. Number 3, retirement is boring. Did I mention you have a lot of free time in retirement? Sure, it's a blast at first. No alarm, no commute, and you can do anything you want. That wears off in about a month when you're faced with a harsh reality. What lies before you is a soul-sucking expanse of nothingness that seems to stretch out into eternity. If you're not prepared for it, your life can quickly devolve into a meaningless existence. There are not enough television programs and books and podcasts in the world to fill the gaping hole of a poorly planned retirement. When you leave your hectic work life behind, you go from being so busy that you can't believe where the time has gone to wondering if you can make it through another day. The boredom can become a whirlpool of depression that drags you down into the depths of despair. You'll find yourself in a dark place where you don't want to go anywhere or do anything, and you certainly don't have the strength to try anything new. What you need is a little preparation. Take the time before you retire to find age-appropriate activities that you enjoy doing. Depending on how you feel about being around other people, some of your pastimes should involve interacting with others. If you can barely tolerate people, then choose at least one activity with one social element so that you don't become a hermit. There are any number of things that you can do to keep busy in retirement. Develop good habits like going for a walk every day. Number 4, healthcare costs can eat you alive. According to Fidelity, a healthy 65-year-old couple will spend an estimated $300,000 in today's after-tax dollars on healthcare in retirement. That's more than the average 65-year-old couple's entire nest egg. Medicare helps, but it doesn't cover everything, and it's not free. On top of that, it can be very confusing. You'll have lots of time to figure it out in retirement. But if you'd like a primer, there's a wealth of information in Medicare Explained. 5. No one gets out of this alive. Our secular world makes it easy to go through life without ever pondering life's most basic questions. Like, why am I here? Where did I come from? Where am I going? Retirement is the last chapter of your life. If ever there was a time to start thinking about where you're going, this is it. It's been said that we are 1/3 mental, 1/3 physical, and 1/3 spiritual. If that's true, is it wise to go through life ignoring 1/3 of who we are? Be open to exploring matters of a spiritual nature. It only gets harder as you age. Number 6, Social Security is not all it's cracked up to be. Social Security was never meant to be a retiree's sole source of income, yet for many, that's the case. A full 40% of retired Americans have no other income besides Social Security. Despite the fact that you pay into it for all of your working life, there's no guarantee that it will be there when you need it. At present, the Social Security fund is in danger of becoming insolvent. And number 7, you can save too much for retirement. Finally, we've reached the last in our list of 7 things I wish I knew before I retired. Though it may sound crazy, you can save too much for retirement. How can anyone save too much? It's not really a matter of having too much money. It's more an issue of how you allocate a finite amount of money over the course of a lifetime. Throughout our working lives, it's up to us to decide how much to save for retirement. We can save a little or a lot. If it's a lot, it likely comes at the expense of your pre-retirement lifestyle. You won't be able to do as much because you're saving so much for retirement. Come retirement age, you have all this money, but nowhere to spend it. You can go on vacation, but sitting on an airplane becomes less tolerable as you age. Then there's the hassle of dealing with hotels and rental car companies and finding your way around in unfamiliar places. It sounds like more trouble than it's worth. It wasn't always this way. Back when the kids were little, you used to love to take them on vacation. Everyone had a blast and you couldn't wait till the next time. But sadly, there were fewer vacations than you would have wanted because the monkey of retirement savings was always on your back. That's what saving too much for retirement looks like. It's regretting that you didn't do more when you were young enough to enjoy it because you didn't know how much to save for retirement. The way to avoid it is to have a real retirement plan. Don't guess at how much you need to save and hope for the best. Really look at your anticipated living expenses and save only as much as you need. The first step is to say no to retirement rules of thumb. Surely you've seen the "Are you on track" chart on your 401k plan's website. Those charts and most every retirement calculator on the internet is based on retirement rules of thumb. Those one-size-fits-all solutions don't consider anything about your unique situation. Do they ask if your home will be paid off by the time you retire? How about whether your state has income taxes? Do you have an annuity or whole life insurance? Are you married or single? All of those things play an important role in determining how much retirement savings you need. Your best bet is to sit down with a financial advisor or avail yourself to sophisticated retirement planning software that can tell you how much you really need to save. It may take a little effort, but isn't it worth it? We're talking about 20% of your life. Life is full of regrets. Don't make one of them failing to properly plan for retirement. You just listened to the post titled 7 Things I Wish I Knew Before I Retired by Mike Ballew of eggstack.com. This article highlighted for me why the word retirement can be pretty challenging for many people. When most of us hear the word retirement, we understand it to mean no longer working. But my involvement in the FIRE community has led me to reinterpret this word. To me, retirement is much more about separating your finances from your work, not abandoning work altogether. Satisfying work is one of the great joys of life. And whether you retire at 30 or 65, why would you deprive yourself of that? The big difference between working during your accumulation years and working during your FIRE or retirement years is based on financial need. Before reaching FI, you're working to pay the bills, save, and otherwise fund your lifestyle. After FIRE, you're working if, when, and where you want with no concern for the money. Oftentimes, hobbies or businesses you create can produce an income, and you'll want them to so that you can at least cover your costs for the work you're doing. However, the work you get to do when you no longer need an income to cover your living expenses can bring a satisfaction you may never have experienced when you were required to work for money. Many studies have linked retirement with a decline in health because many people spend their retirement not doing anything that looks like work and wasting away with nothing to do. Yes, there will be and should be periods of extended rest and recuperation in retirement. But if you don't find a useful way to spend your time, you will most likely end up lonely and depressed. That being said, regardless of your age, if you anticipate your retirement to look like sitting around and doing nothing all day, I'd encourage you not to retire at all. And that's a wrap for another Monday show. Have a great start to your week, and I'll be back tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.